How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Alien number 3. This is the second run or second season of Marvel's Alien comics, and this is the third chapter of the Icarus plot arc. And overall, I found this to be a really cool issue. At the start of the run, I was a little bit, what is this? What are we going to do? But here we see the story firmly established on its own 2 feet, and I really do like what we see here. No major spoilers, but we start to learn a little bit about the unique strain of aliens that are on this planet, and the idea that they're a little bit more sadistic. I do find it really interesting. They come across a bunch of shoes all tied up and left up somewhere, and the humans say the aliens did that. They left all these shoes here just to mess with us, to try to lure us out, and that these aliens, they were kind of like selectively bred, and in turn, they're different. And, I do like having, a bunch of unique strains, and it's not too far, it wasn't too meticulous or too human-like, but you can tell that these are a little crafty, which I think was really interesting, plus a promise for more to come from those alien insects. So, yeah, I'm looking at a lot of cool things here, and plus a real, a post-apocalyptic feel for this issue. We get a little tour of the humans and how they've been living in their base and stuff, and seeing, this world, it really did feel like something out of a good post-apocalyptic movie. We've been living in these few safe spaces for years and years, and everybody's got their post-apocalyptic get-up on. It's really cool, and I do want to say something about the art. When I first saw the art, I was like, this isn't as good as the last guy's artwork. But now it is growing on me, and it's sort of the thing, whenever a book changes artist, it's always a bit of an initial shock. It's like, the book was one way and now it's different. But I think the story really didn't do the artist favors, because when you look at issue 1, there was a bunch of stuff on that nice planet, with the big, plants and stuff, and we got several shots of the androids doing leaps and bounds. It was stuff that was really hard to make look scary, But now that they're giving this artist a bunch of post-apocalyptic things to draw, it looks way better. And I think it was more the subject matter that he had to draw. It didn't make his art look as good because he was drawing superpowers and nice things when you really want a good sense of grunge to establish an alien artist. So, yeah, even though I did feel the other guy was, pretty realistic, this new artist, I'm getting used to his style, and it really is pretty good when they actually give him cool apocalyptic things to draw. So, yeah, maybe not the best introduction to him in issue 1, but now that I look at his art in issue 3, I'm like, yeah, this is actually pretty cool. So, just a kind of take back on that, But anyway, cool stuff this issue. I really do like that the Alien book as a whole has talked pretty intensively about these creatures, The first plot arc is literally a guy studying them, and then the second plot arc we got where there are these big animals that were native to the planet, and the aliens were eating them, and they had all those weird little teeth on the front. I do like that they're experimenting with the creature and giving us new strains, and they even, I think, a few issues back did actually name the strain from the Alien movies, and I would love to see a big chart plotting all the different strains we've seen, because the Alien movies, I like to think that they, it's not just the new host, and they do imply, because they say that they were breeding them on this planet, that would mean that it's not just the new host that controls their DNA, but their DNA contains all their past host. So that would also mean the alien in the movie Alien was previous generation engineer, current generation human. So he would have had DNA from both the space jockey and then Kane inside of him, which I do think is really interesting as well. But anyway, without further ado, I want to switch to the close-up camera, show you guys a little bit of the story, a little bit of the art if you do want to see more. I'll try to avoid the major spoilers, but I do want to show you guys a little bit of the book. So if you guys want to see more, I'm going to switch to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle, taking a closer look at Marvel's Alien number 3. And overall, gotta say, a really cool cover for this one. Let's bring it closer to the camera. We see the main android lady with the child that we'll meet in this, one of the survivors. And I think if we're fans of aliens, we can all kind of recognize what this cover image is referencing. But pretty cool. I do love the nice fire and smoke sort of faded background behind it, the nice overhead lights. Overall, a pretty cool classic Alien cover. Gotta love it. Anyway, there is a cold opening, but I'm going to flip to the credits page. Alien Icarus number 3 of 6, written by Phillip Kennedy Johnson. The artist is Julius Ohta, and we get to see the previously on here. Again, always compliments to comics that actually give us previously ons. It's been at least a month, and we do get the schematic, and it actually says extraction briefing for the United Systems SEAL team. That is kind of one of the things in this book. U.S., not standing for United States, but United Systems. You know, there's the UA, United Americas, which is just Earth, and then there's the U.S., United Systems for all of space. But anyway, we do get, and I don't know if they said this before, it brings up Kane, and it says his full name is Gilbert Ward parentheses Thomas Kane, and that's the human's first record of encountering these organisms, which means I guess the knowledge from AVP is lost to modern humans. But anyway, it also talks about how the internal structure is like a reptile's egg, and an anomic cavity, a yolk, and a sac to support life, and albumin to support hydration, a sort of a fluid that absorbs shock as well. And I do like just a bunch of fun random knowledge about the eggs here, and the idea that it's you know, provided for the team so that they know, in the little scroll thing and an arrow implying that there's way more that we don't get to see. I do love the schematics. You know, that doing a schematic each time kind of shows that Marvel knows that we're all nerds and we just want to see these fun little silly details, you know? But anyway, Toddler 9. From here, we're going to talk a bit about the story. I'm going to be trying to avoid major spoilers. I do want to show you guys a bit of the story and the art. No major spoilers, but if you want to go in completely unaware of what happens, now's the point to stop. But anyway, it's a storm which allows them to get away, and that's one of those things they say the alien, it's harder for it to track you in a storm, and you know, that makes it sound like a dog, and I'm like, do aliens smell? Because they don't really have noses. Maybe they do, or maybe it's something in like the electromagnetic signature of a storm that makes it harder for you to track. It implies that aliens communicate with each other in some sort of, I mean, not in this book right now, but I think people have thought that aliens might communicate in some vague form of telepathy, and maybe it's sort of their perception that gets dampened, or maybe it's all the sound from a storm. I don't know. Maybe it is just as simple as that. Maybe it's just stench. But they say, yeah, radiation from the storm will make you a little sick, but it's better than dying from an alien. But anyway, enough theorizing about the storm. It doesn't really tell us too much other than that it's a way to get out. But I do like they refer to synthetics as milkmen, because they have white blood. And yeah, it's always cool to see them, come up with slang terms that work within a universe, sort of like how replicants were called skin jobs in Blade Runner. Here they call them milkmen sometimes. But anyway, they do see a single alien and kill it, and they cut off the little protruding tongue with the face on it, and the androids say, it's good to see humans acting like animals, being, self-aware of what they really are, So we do get to see that sort of hatred coming from both groups towards each other, and they eventually get to the hideout, one of the safer buildings inside this planet, and they say they even have a couple secondary hideouts should this one fail, but a really cool pan around the place and meeting more characters in here. So yeah, a bunch of rugged humans that have survived for a long time, and nice little greenhouse structure, I think. That's pretty cool. I do like this, sort of post-apocalyptic world they're all setting up. But anyway, we do get to find out, a bunch of history, a bunch of way the two groups treat each other, and how they don't really expect a rescue, even though the androids promise if they get their egg, they'll help them off the planet. And we do meet this little boy, and he's actually Death. And I do love the way they show sign language here. They ask, oh, does he do Terran Standard Sign? And they sort of highlight her hands and then show what her hands are saying up here. And that's a cool way to represent it. It's always, how do you figure out these things? How do you figure out how to show something? Because in a movie that would just be subtitled, right? Well, you get this one android who is one of the ones that trust humans the least, and he finds someone going through their stuff, and she, of course, is rude to him, but he eventually sees that one of the containers of the alien bug is open, and it's kind of up to, what did he see it too late to stop it, or does he just hate humans? But it gets onto her, and he decides to keep his mouth shut, so he not only doesn't stop it, but he keeps his mouth shut that it ever happened. So, more from the alien bug. I am glad that is coming around. Anyway, there's the staple, so I don't want to go too much farther than this. But they say that they're going to have to wait till the next rain to get out, and they know where all the eggs would be, and they say you can use any one of those eggs, because why the egg wasn't there is obvious, because it hatched and caused this whole mess. But they do say that, the new strain of alien is, of course, the Icarus strain, which is why we get the name, and they get a whole bunch of how this strain is different, what they're doing, like I hinted at earlier, there's all the shoes hanging from the ceiling, so they are a different strain, so I do like that, and a lot of the book, talking about how these aliens are different, talking about how they survived, and lots of really cool, interesting stuff, but of course, they are going to go and try to get those eggs, which is going to be quite hard of a task. So, there is more plot, but also I did gloss over a lot of the nerdy details, which I do like about how this series was written. So, hopefully we get a lot more of these. The first plot arc was really great. The second one, kind of an interesting, almost like zombie survival take on the situation. And here we get a good going to an alien planet story. And yeah, it did take me like a couple issues to get on board with this, but now I really think that this has definitely the potential to go somewhere, especially throwing in a new group of humans into the mix, and they're an interesting group as well, so I am really curious where this is going, back on board again with this one. So I do really look forward to the upcoming issues and more plot arcs of this series as well. I'm really hoping this lasts a long time, and they do reference the Spinner Colony a few times in this, and I'm hoping for more connections between the plot arcs. Like, yeah, maybe don't get it where it's hard to read a new plot arc if you haven't read all the previous. I get that one, but I do want interconnectivity, and I am hoping that previous characters show up again in some capacity. So I really am curious where this book will be 3 or 4 plot arcs down the line. But overall, a fun story this time around. But that being said, if they are all not connected, I really wish they would just put Alien Icarus on the front cover, you know, but whatever. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be an Alien playlist where you can find my reviews of all the past Alien comics. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Alien playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.